Perfect. Okay. Right. So on that note, I'll make a start. So thank you for those that have joined the Teams briefing. Just to introduce myself for those that don't know me, my name's Simon Mallin of Simon Mallin Canine Training and Consultancy. I'm based in the UK. I dare say most of you follow me on social media and other bits. So the idea of this evening's brief was to sort of explain what I've got in mind with the tracking course and what people should expect. Also to be able to introduce key members of the team from Zimbabwe as well as here in the UK. So on that point, I'll introduce Sean firstly in a second. We are, just so everyone's aware, we are recording this, but only on audio. So hopefully we can play it back for people that have missed it. But your faces aren't being recorded, just so you're aware of that. So Sean, if you'd like to introduce yourself first and your organisation and your input, your involvement with the proposed course.
Great, thank you, Simon, and good evening, good afternoon, good morning to everyone. I think we're all over the world, so all of those greetings are appropriate, and it's lovely to be here with everyone, and thanks very much for the opportunity. As you've said, my name is Sean Waller. I'm based in Zimbabwe. I've lived in Zimbabwe my whole life together with my family, and we are involved in Sabakwi anti-poaching and conservation group down in the Midlands, where the proposed program is going to be taking place next year. Simon has visited there and has come up with the concept and the idea, and we're really excited about it. And as we say back home, fired up. We're just looking forward to it and really trusting that it's going to come to full fruition. So Simon, that's a brief introduction. I must just apologize at the outset. I'm in South Africa at the moment, and we do have another function that we have to go to probably in about 25 minutes. So if I sort of leave the meeting quietly, you'll know what's happened. But thanks very much.
Okay, thank you, Sean. Ashton, could you introduce yourself, please, and the organisation and your role there currently, and the input you'll be providing on the course?
Ashton's mic.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So good evening, everyone, and good day to everyone as well. My name is Ashton Goronga. I'm currently working with Mr. with Sean. And we work in an organization called Zimbabwe Conservation and Anti-Poaching Group. I'll be in this course. Mainly, I'll be the boots on the ground. I'll be working with the guys who will be going out in the bush. Currently, I work with the scouts that go about on a day-to-day basis, do anti-poaching in the area, and I think I'll be there to provide a bit of an insight on how we conduct business here, and also on the anti-poaching side of things, just giving information related to how we conduct business out in the bush here.
Okay, thank you, Ashton. Just to explain, Ashton is in a remote area at the moment where internet signal is limited, so we are going to lose it from time to time. Gaz, can you introduce yourself?
Certainly. Yeah, hi, my name is Gaz or Gary, and I'm your team medic. I'm responsible for the physical and mental welfare during the course, including minor injuries and illnesses, through to hopefully not many medical or any medical emergencies. I'll also be delivering theatre-specific first aid training for those on the ground. This is critical to ensuring that we leave a legacy going forwards of learning and developing in combination really with other skills being taught in this programme, so that the benefits are felt long after we've left.
Okay, thank you, Gaz. We should have another team member here with us, which is Peter Magoo. He is in Zimbabwe. It's difficult sometimes for both operational and communication reasons that we can't always plan things as we'd like. So Peter, just to give you some background on Peter heads up the Anti-Poaching Canine Foundation Trust, which is a registered charity in Zimbabwe, and they provide anti-poaching dogs, smugglers, somebody stop there.
Yeah, Billy, could you mute your mic, please? Ooh. I'll do it for him. Okay, I've muted Billy.
Okay, all right. So that's Peter. He might join the meeting as we progress. So Peter's organisation is providing the dogs for the course, and Peter himself will be providing advice and guidance for myself primarily for the training based on local laws and restrictions and working in the bush and the wildlife themselves. So that's the majority of the initial training team. Just to give you some background, so I worked with Peter some 20 years ago at Baghdad Airport. He was a young man at the time working as a dog handler at the checkpoint going into Baghdad Airport, and I was one of the British expat security guys there running the checkpoint. So he was one of my explosive search dog handlers at the time. So we go back quite a way, and we sort of lost contact and then linked up together probably about a year or so ago via LinkedIn. I was keen to get myself back out to Africa. I'd previously done some years out there in Kenya, predominantly providing tracking dogs and training for rangers, and I was keen to get back out to Africa some way or another, and I linked up with Peter. Unbeknown to me, he'd actually started a canine anti-poaching outfit, so yeah, it was perfect. So we were chatting for about a year, or just short of a year, and I decided to jump on a plane and go out and see what it was all about. And during that time, I was hosted by Sean Waller, and who you've just met, and his organisation, the Sabakwi Anti-Poaching Conservation Group. So I spent 2 weeks in the area there, and I could see with my own eyes that a lot was needed in the way of equipment, training, resources, and they're doing what they can self-funded over a very large area to, and I'll let Sean or Ashton speak about the poaching situation there in let's call it a fight against the poachers and to try and prevent these animals from disappearing. So a big part of that is money and getting awareness and more people involved. You know, as I've been involved in a short time, other people have approached me with help. We've got an organisation called For Rangers that are providing insurance for the guys on the ground, as in medical and death in service insurance, which is vital. So we've already done that in a short period of time. I'm meeting with this operation this week, hopefully for assistance with kit and equipment, even down to uniform and stuff like that. So anyway, whilst I was there, my mind was sort of doing overtime as how I could help them financially. So we were training this former hunting lodge, which I think is quite apt. And I couldn't help but think, what a waste. You know, this can be utilized and used. It's been kept intact and safe for a number of years, hasn't been used, but it's all there. With a little bit of TLC, it can be functioning again. So I started thinking, how can we get tourists out here? Well, it's probably not the sort of place that your average tourist would want to go to. It is remote. It's beautiful, but it's remote. We're calling it a bush camp experience, but you know, you've got walls, you've got a roof, you'll have electric, you'll have water, but it is a bush camp experience. So it's not a 5-star fancy safari. Equally, I thought, well, how can we get people here? Well, my world is dogs. So I've been training and handling dogs for over 30 years, possibly longer, in various different disciplines. I can deliver academic dog handling qualifications that I do here in the UK, overseas, through NASDU, which is the National Association of Security Dog Users. So I thought, let's tap into that expertise and let's see if we can get some people out here. So I've developed a training program that can be tailored to suit whatever your requirements are. So we're only taking 4 learners for each course. Each learner can bring 1 companion if they so wish. Because it's only 4 learners, I can tailor each individual's person's training to their requirements. So if you've got somebody, and what I'm trying to get at there, if you're the sort of person that just wants to do this for fun, for experience, no problem. If you just want to watch tracking and go out and explore the area, no problem. If you are already an experienced tracker dog handler and you want to go to the next level, no problem. If you want the handler qualification through NASDU and the formal qualification, no problem. What I would say, if you want the qualification, then you are going to do a full training package, which I'll go through now. If you're not interested, probably not interested in the right terminology, but if you don't require the certification and you're just doing it for the experience, then we will definitely cut you some slack on the training. On that note, it's not a military training camp. It's all going to be done friendly and nicely, and you know, it's about learning and enjoying the experience. So that's the sort of background behind my plan. I know some people think I'm a bit crazy for doing this back here, but I'm hoping, well, I am a bit crazy, but hey, I see that as a positive. I'm excited about getting this off the ground, and I'm pretty confident that if we can get this first course running, we can make this a semi-regular thing of once or twice a year, every year. And you know, the benefit to that immediate Sabakwe area and the camp itself and wildlife, the fallout from this will be immense, which is what it's all about. Peter, I can see you've joined us. Could you just introduce yourself and your organisation and your involvement with the course, please?
Thank you very much, Simon. My name is Peter Magoo. I am the Executive Director for Anti-Poaching Canine Foundation Trust, an organization that is registered here in Zimbabwe. I will be working hand in hand with Simon Mallin, as well as with the Sabakwe Anti-Poaching Conservation Group in Sabakwe, the Midlands of Zimbabwe. So the Anti-Poaching Canine Foundation Trust will be providing the dogs for the training, as well as the assessment and advisory side of things, all together with the general security, from picking up the client from the airport to the main camp, which is in the Midlands. So basically, that will be more of my role. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Peter. So Peter is somewhat vital to this operation, and Peter is the gentleman that I spoke about that we worked together some 20 years ago. So we've and who I went to visit in September. So this is all quite recent. So I'm going to talk about the training program itself, so people know what to expect. So I've just listed a few topics here. Because it's been accredited through NASDU, there are, for those that want the full qualification, there are some topics or learning outcomes that we'd need to cover. And I'll just go through it. So we've got underpinning knowledge here. So that would be roles and responsibilities of a tracking dog handler, understanding the illegal wildlife trade, trafficking, and the law behind it, poaching. Selection of dogs. So we're going to go into what sort of dogs are suitable, breed types and characteristics that we'd be looking for with tracking dogs, and selection of handlers. Obviously, dog handling itself is quite a unique discipline, but tracking is something different again. And it's for me, and I train a few different disciplines. Tracking is probably one of the most exciting of the disciplines, and the one that you are most at one with the dog. I don't know if that makes sense, but you've got to really be at one with that dog. It's not a machine. It's a team effort when you're tracking. So it's really exciting when it works. We're going to be doing some basic obedience training. So even though, and I'll let Peter talk about the dogs at some point. So even though it's a tracking course, we need to make sure that these dogs are safe and that they're obedient. That easement includes an emergency stop and recall. So in the unlikely event that the dog should escape or just run off, we need to be able to stop that dog and recall it, particularly in the bush. We don't want to lose a dog in that environment. On the operational side, preparation prior to deployment, so making sure people have got the right kit. We're planning, so as the course progresses, we'll set up some scenarios and exercises to try and simulate operational tracking. So is really getting involved with it, working with the scouts as well, so working as part of a team. That will be progressed to what I call relay tracking. So that allows you to track further. So one dog would be tracking, and let's say there's 4 dogs. One would be actual tracking, and there'd be 4 following up behind. And before the front dog tires, you'd rest that dog, and the next dog goes forward, picks up the track, and continues. That does allow us to track for long distances. On that note, we're not running. So you haven't got to think about, extreme fitness for this. You need to be reasonably fit. It's a fast-paced walk, and at times it's very slow because the dog is ground scent in and he's following that scent, and he's having to concentrate what he's doing. Depending how we're doing, we'll increase the difficulty, not just in duration, but also complication. So we track through more urban areas. We are out in the bush, but there is housing there. We track through areas where there's housing, so that the dog's having to ignore people, hopefully through farm animals as well as distractions, roads. We will make it difficult as we progress, but that is actually very exciting. The kennel sort of side of it, so we would expect if somebody's on wanting the full qualification, there is an element of kennel management, so you'd be there in the mornings under supervision, but exercising your dog, feeding your dog, grooming your dog, carrying out inspection of your dog. This is all part of being a dog handler. And report writing, so you'd be writing out training reports that you carried out in the day. So we're doing it properly for those that want that endpoint assessment. So at the end of the course, there will be a practical. So Peter won't be involved directly in the training, but he will be advising me. Peter will then be doing an endpoint assessment. So we'll set up roughly a 2-mile track. There will be some obstacles in it, some turnings and some distractions, and you'd need to complete that track of roughly an hour cold. So that means the track was laid an hour earlier, and that would be your endpoint test, if you like. So yeah, that is it in a nutshell. Sean, can I ask you just to talk? So I've talked about the course. Sean, can you explain the accommodation and the general area there for people? Have we still got Sean, or has he gone?
I'll try turning his mic on.
There we are. Now I was on
Okay.
mute. Can you hear me now?
Yeah. If Sean,
Right.
if you could just. Okay. Did you hear me?
Yes, I did, Simon. So
Right.
the property on which we will be doing the program is called Mahamara. And Mahamara is a property within the Midlands Black Rhino Conservancy. And the overall area is the Midlands of Zimbabwe. So if you haven't already had a look, that's where you'll find it. You'll see there's a lake called Lake Zimbabwe, and we are on the southern shore of Lake Zimbabwe, very much in the middle of the country. And Mahamara Bush Lodge has been around probably for at least 2 decades or longer. It's a rustic old camp that was really, really well built in its day, and we have managed to maintain it and keep it in reasonable shape, but underutilized. And that's where the canine tracking program is kicking in and becoming very exciting. So your camp is 4 sleeping quarters, thatched with ensuite bathroom and shower, 2 on either side of a dining area come bar area, and that's also thatched. It's situated in what we call the Midlands play areas. So there's a lot of dried grass and what we also call Miomba woodland, the particular type of tree that's predominant. And just behind the lodge is a lovely granite outcrop, which I guess you'll probably use for your tracking program through those lovely rocks if you didn't go in there, Simon, when you came out. So I think the setting is absolutely ideal from what I understand and sort of can see concerning the program, canine tracking program. So that gives you a little bit of an idea about the lodge. It's as you've said, it's not a 5-star luxury lodge, but it's very comfortable, very adequate, and the stars are beautiful at night. Lovely campfire. It's just a really great setting, and I think you're hitting on a perfect location for what you've got in mind here.
Super, thank you, Sean. And you know, for people that are interested in coming on the course, it's not just about training. There'll be opportunities to drive out in the bush, do some sightseeing, look for wildlife, and you have got to go and look for them. It's not. I mean, I've worked in Kenya as well, and I was on quite a fancy conservation there that was very secure with years of security behind it. And you see herds of elephants just walking by and gosh knows what, but you won't see that there. And that's why we're there. But we will see them. I saw them. We'll go and find them, and you can take pictures of them. And the scenery there is beautiful. So there's other elements to this. Food-wise, I'll explain about my experience. So When I stayed there, the chef, we'll call him rather than cook, was a gentleman called Tendai, who will be cooking for us there. It's proper home style cooking is the only way I can explain it. It's very healthy. There's plenty of it, and I think it would suit most palates. So it's traditional home cooking is what I can say. With a I'm going to call it an English breakfast style, but it's an English breakfast style, but let's say a cooked breakfast. It'll be a light lunch because some of the time we'll be out on the ground, and we'll take food with us, and then a substantial traditional home cooked meal. The bar area there is beautiful. It's all like thatched, and there's the big open fireplace, and we'll be having barbecues for an evening. So there'll be a social side to this. I've insisted that the local, we've got another trainer with us as well as Ashton. I forget his name, Petrus, who's one of the scouts there, who's an expert on visual tracking. So you'll really learn from him. I've insisted that these guys will be eating with us because we can learn from them in a more social environment. Gaz, you're somewhat vital for this. You were falling asleep there. I saw you.
I'm not. I'm really not. I'm really not. I'm not falling asleep. No. I never sleep.
So, Gaz, you're somewhat vital into our health, safety, and welfare. Can you give us some insight on what you're there for? And there's a playoff to you coming, meaning you're doing some other stuff that I'll let you explain.
Yeah, certainly. Thank you, Simon. Well, first of all, for people who are in country, so people who are from Zimbabwe, they're more accustomed to the risks, and their bodies are adjusted to many of the things that you'd find in Zimbabwe. But nevertheless, they can also, through accidents, become a casualty. And as a medic, obviously I'm there to treat everyone, but guests who are coming into the country, they're not acclimatized to the temperature. Their bodies aren't accustomed to the certain specifics that you'd find in Zimbabwe, like perhaps water quality and so on. So it's initially it's understanding that prevention is better than cure. So it's ensuring that everyone coming along is prepared for that environment, be it taking anti-malarials or making sure that the water, that they only drink from safe water sources and so on. But then if anything were to happen, and believe you me, life is full of surprises, and the worst surprises generally come along when you really don't need them to come along. Well, it's my role then to ensure that we stop any nasty surprises in their track, so any medical conditions that are developing, to treat appropriately in the field, and then to extract to a safe place. So in lieu of what we would expect here in Britain, having an ambulance service or a GP that can be called upon very quickly, I will be taking that role on, although I'm not a doctor, I'm a medic, but I'll be filling in that role, seeking further help and then extracting. I come with a significant amount of resources, so things like a satellite phone, for example, which is incredibly expensive to place calls from, and just as expensive to place calls to. However, this gives us a point of contact 24/7 in the field, so if anything were to happen back home, then the family can reach out to us, and we can obviously pass the message on and act appropriately. I am a qualified teacher, and I teach many things, first aid being one of them. So we've tailored and will be tailoring a course that's appropriate to the field and delivering that training to the guys on the ground and ladies on the ground, if there are any ladies there, which means that going forwards they'll have the necessary skill sets in dealing with any immediate action emergencies, teaching people how to use a defibrillator, wonderful piece of kit. We'll have one of those with us, of course. And yes, I mean, I think that's pretty much what I know Simon's given me 1,000 other jobs to do, but I think that's pretty much what I was initially intended to do when he asked me to come along.
Yeah, thanks, Gaz. Just to sort of clarify that, the first aid training that Gaz will be providing is for local scouts and rangers. So a playoff from uh, the course and income coming in is being able to bring Gaz with us and to be running essential first aid training for local scouts and rangers that one of the things I noticed there that was missing, which is absolutely vital in that environment. So that's a playoff from this. So I think I've just about covered everything I wanted to initially. So at this stage, are there any questions from anybody?
Yeah, hi. I've got a question. Um, just interested. So obviously, this is a country territory now where you have a problem with poachers. What's the likelihood on the course of coming across them? What's the plan if that happens?
That's a good question, Martin. So I was there. I'll let Sean jump in as well, and possibly Peter. So I was there in that exact area out on the ground for 2 weeks. The poachers are generally using snares to catch their prey. So they come out at night and they'll put the snares there at night and they disappear during the day. We will be out and about doing training during daylight hours. We won't be doing any training at night time. So we'll be back in the camp, very secure. But as I say, these poachers predominantly using snares rather than firearms. That's what they're concerned about. But Sean, can you jump into that, please?
Okay, sure. So we are predominantly a what we call non-big game area. So there's not a lot of elephant and big cats and lions, etc. in our area. In fact, there's no lions whatsoever, and there's elephants are not in our area. They tend to habitate further north to us in the conservancy. But what that means is there's no ivory poaching, which is obviously a huge global challenge. What we're dealing with more than anything else is bush meat poaching. So we're dealing with poachers who are looking to make a livelihood, even though it's illegal, out of killing wildlife to get free meat and then either consuming it or selling it in the district and around and about. And so generally speaking, that type of poacher is a very shy kind of person who's just coming in to try and find meat and kill wildlife for that purpose. And he's not an armed poacher like an ivory poacher who is a different kind of poaching, or a rhino poacher. Yes, we do have rhino in the area, but there's a separate rhino anti-poaching group that takes care of that. So we're dealing more with bushmeat poaching, and you do tend not to see the guys are in at night, and it's not really a dangerous situation. But you obviously do have to have your wits about you and be aware, that there are poachers around, but it's not dangerous.
Okay, thank you, Sean. Martin, does that answer your question?
You're muted, Martin.
Sorry, I was on mute. Yeah, so once you're trained up and you're looking for these poachers, is the plan then that you're going to use the dogs and go out at night to find them, to stop, or is the plan to find the snares and remove them?
So for the course, there is no operational tracking involved whatsoever. This is just training. We're not putting people at risk. It is just training. However, I am planning that we can go out on what they call snare patrols in the day. So if it's safe, or we deem it safe, we can go out and do a foot patrol in an area where snares would have been put there the night before. The poachers won't be there. They don't want to get caught, so they'll be long gone. And it's a really worthwhile thing to remove these snares, because you can remove, I mean, I removed 20 plus with part of the team in a few hours. Potentially that's 20 plus animals saved from a horrific death. And it's not just wildlife they get caught in, it's cattle and you know, all sorts of animals get caught up in it. So it's a really worthwhile thing to do. Yeah, so does that answer your question, Martin?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, thanks, Simon.
Yeah, if I can just come in, prevention is obviously what we aim for in anti-poaching work, and looking for snares, removing snares, and trying to stop the actual poaching where an animal is killed. It's then too late. It's over and out. But you know, certainly, as you say, Simon, you're not going to be using the canines to pick up on a hot animal carcass overnight and go chasing those poachers. That's a separate operation which is not part of this course.
Yeah. Okay, Martin. Super. Gaz, you've got your hand up there.
I have, yeah. Just to say that there's a meeting timer come up. If anyone gets thrown out of the meeting, I think if we can just re-click the link and rejoin, it's that 60-minute timer's just come up.
Okay. I mean, we're probably just about done. Any questions from anyone else, sir? What I would say, feel free to drop me an email, and we can arrange a WhatsApp one-to-one chat. No problem at all. If there's any individual questions that maybe people don't want to ask in front of others. Gary, you've got your hand up there.
Yeah, Simon. What sort of price range are you looking at for this?
So the course is priced at £3,500 for one learner, and that learner can bring a partner, a guest with them for an additional £850. So for two people, £4,350, but that includes food, accommodation, travel, and obviously the course and certification itself.
Cheers for that, Simon. Thank you.
No problem. Billy?
You hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. Okay, good. Yeah, I was just wondering what's there for, like, if Mary comes along with me, she'd probably shadow. She's got a great interest in the dog work as well.
Okay.
But what else is there for one other as such, like what do they do, what they expect of them if they're not on the course?
So the people accompanying, they're absolutely welcome to shadow all of the training if they have an interest. But what they wouldn't be able to do is physically handle the dog, but they can shadow everything. So, for example, if you're actually tracking, then Mary, I think you said, can follow up on that track behind you and observe. Equally, we can use our if people have come as guests, we can use them to lay tracks for us. So we chaperoned, obviously, there'll always be a scout with you to lay a track, so we can involve them. If they're not that involved, or they don't want to sort of be too involved, then I'll be honest, there isn't a lot to do there other than relax, bring a good book, and just enjoy the scenery, if you like. There'll be social evenings, so you know the bar will be reasonably kitted out, and you know we'll be having barbecues and that sort of stuff. So there'll be times you won't be on your own, put it like that, and we will arrange for sort of road trips out to sort of see what's going on the outside there. I think we may have. Am I still there, or have I disappeared?
I can see you.
Still here.
Oh, you can see me. So, Sean, I don't know if Sean, if you're still there, or you've had to go.
Sean's left the room, I think.
Sean, okay. Ashton, can you think of anything to add to that for for guests rather than people on the course? What is there for them to do? You live there. Have I lost Ashton?
Oh,
Can you hear me?
He's there. Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. Okay, so I think because we are on the lake, close to the lake Sebakwi, there's a lot of beds, water beds that come there, and then there's a bit of terrestrial beds. So other guests can participate in just doing maybe bed watching, and then help us improve our inventory if they've got knowledge on the kind of beds that they would be seeing, just as a citizen science approach.
Yeah, no, that's a good idea. So yeah, there are no shops. there's no shopping. You can't nip out. We're a good 3-4 hours drive from civilization, if you like. That said, we will be doing a day trip for supplies. So if people wanted to jump on that day trip, it's a bumpy dirt track drive. I've done it, but there would be an opportunity there, sort of midweek, to visit Kwekwe, I think they call it, which is a small town. There's not a huge amount going on there, but it's something different if people wanted to see that. So yeah, Billy, in a nutshell, that's it. So there's no shopping. There's limited internet, so you won't even be able to buy stuff online.
Saves on the wallet, yeah. No, we just roughly, we're looking at we're into conservation in New Zealand with dogs. We're looking at, we got 17 acres here, and we've trained a few dogs recently for conservation work. And going forward, we want to utilise knowledge and things like that to set up a little centre for conservation dogs, and tracking is all part of it. Tracking is tracking in some ways, and a different way, and it'd be good to, yeah. So that's where we're coming up. So probably she would shadow and be able to teach, not teach, use the experience when she comes home. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. That sounds like you two sound like a perfect couple to attend the course. There's a win-win there for both of you.
That's a good old last bullshit.
So if I hate to talk about money, but if people want to go to the next level, drop me a line directly, and we can talk about a deposit to secure your place and a payment plan if that's what you want to do, that sort of thing. So there are a number of people that are missing on this briefing, sadly, but they are dotted around the world. So I'm guessing timing's had something to do with that. So yeah, but I'll speak to them privately as well. Are there any other questions before we lose, or anything, Peter, Ashton, Gaz, you feel I've missed?
No, I think that's you covered everything there, Simon. It's just to say that, of course, participants coming on board, they'll have a joining form, obviously coming to them with like a medical form on it, and it's just to assure them that if they have any concerns with their own health or well-being, that's something that we've definitely thought about in great deal, and we're here to advise before and during the course, and there's a whole wealth of knowledge between all of us, and it would be a fantastic experience. I can't wait.
Okay, everyone happy? We shall say goodbye for now. Yeah.
Insurance.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. Oh, Billy, you've raised your hand. Go for it.
Just insurance, medical insurance. Do we take that on board ourselves?
Yeah, that's a good question. So yes, you need to take out your own medical insurance. Gaz and I have talked in length about this. I know Gaz has done a little bit of research on what we would advise you took out, because we are quite remote. So yeah, that flights and medical insurance would be down to yourselves to arrange.
Okay, it's good.
Okay, super. Anyone else? No, everyone happy. Thank you everyone for attending. Really appreciate it. And reach out to me directly if you'd like to take things further or if there's any other questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, guys. Thank you.
Cheers.